Welcome back to AM Northwest. What happens when the pain you're feeling never goes away? When its cause is not easily diagnosed and no treatment seems to work? Here to tell us about new research linking chronic pain with stress, we welcome from the Psychophysiologic Disorders Association, Dr. David Clarke. Doctor, good to have you with us. Talk to me about what is actually called PPD, easier way to say it. What is it exactly, and how common is it?
Oh, it's very common. You know, most people assume that if you've got pain or illness, that it has to be from disease or injury, but actually there's another cause. Your brain can create physical symptoms that are perfectly real anywhere in your body, even when there's nothing physically wrong. And that's what we call a psychophysiologic disorder, because it's a combination of psychology and physiology. It's your brain creating symptoms because it's under stress, because the nerve circuits in the brain have actually physically changed. And because of that, you can get migraines, ringing in your ears, dizziness, fibromyalgia, irritable bowel, pain in the spine, pain in the belly or the pelvis, pain in the joints, certain kinds of rashes, brain fog, long COVID, chronic fatigue, a huge range of real physical symptoms.
How common is it? You said, is it something like 1 in 6 adults suffer from chronic pain?
Yeah, and then you've got more that are suffering from illness like bowel problems. It's 40%, 2 out of 5 of people who go to the doctor. And there aren't any tests for it. When you do a diagnostic test, nothing shows up typically.
I can't tell you how many people we've talked to that someone has something like this, where the doctors say there's nothing wrong that we can see, it's all in your head.
I hate that phrase, but that's what people hear all the time. But it's actually not in your head, it's in your brain. It's your brain is generating this by a physiologic process, no different in principle than any other cause of disease. And the good news is we can diagnose it and treat it successfully.
So what do you look for? What are the common symptoms?
We're looking for stress in a person's life. It could be stress in your life right now. One of my patients, very simple, he only got his symptoms when he was driving to work. When he was driving home from work, he was fine.
Oh, that's like how we are on Fridays. I get it.
There you go.
I get it. Okay.
But it also can be more difficult to recognize. Many of my patients were under stress when they were children. I'll ask many of them, when they look back, do they have experiences that they remember that they would never want for a child of their own? And those can play out over time. They can make you ill way into your adult years. One of my patients had this issue for 79 years.
Oh, no.
But she was successfully treated. We identified the stress, we helped her to see the impact it was having, and then we were able to bring that stress down, and her symptoms went away.
So how did she change her life? What did she change? It wasn't taking a medication, right? It was acknowledging
that's the great thing. Don't need medication for this. We need to identify the stress, identify the long-term impact, which can be stressful personality traits, for example, low self-esteem, not taking enough time to take care of yourself when you're focused on others. It can be triggers. It can be deep emotions that you're not recognizing. But all of those we can manage successfully.
So do you think that our healthcare system is failing some of these people?
Yeah, unfortunately it is. My own training, the first 7 years, I never heard about this. I was very lucky to run into a psychiatrist at UCLA when I was in training who taught me about this, and I've used these principles for the last 40 years on over 7,000 patients. And I've taught other doctors, and we have on our website training materials that doctors can learn from, patients can learn from. And when you do that, the doctors absolutely love it. Suddenly, the 40% of people that are coming to see them for these mysterious symptoms, now they know what to do.
What is some of the latest research on treatment for PPD?
Yeah, that's the great thing. Even though I've been doing this for a long time, it's only in the last few years that we've had gold standard science that shows how well this works. There was just a study from Los Angeles that found that 63% of their patients got better with this kind of approach. Using the old kind of psychology, only 17%. And we've got numerous studies from across North America that are confirming the same thing.
So is it it's a sit down, it's mental health counseling essentially to find out what the trigger is?
Yeah, we want to have the medical doctor make sure there's not an organ disease or a structural damage, then ask some of the questions about stress in your life now versus stress in the past versus a trauma you might have been through. And then when those ideas are identified, then refer them on to a mental health professional that has had some training in how to help people who are physically ill as opposed to having a mental health problem.
Do you think there are people out there who've been misdiagnosed?
Millions.
Like, yeah,
this
I would
is
think
50
so.
million
Like, I'm thinking
people.
of people who have fibromyalgia may be misdiagnosed.
Well, the fibromyalgia might be diagnosed correctly, but then it stops, or the irritable bowel. You know, they put the label on the patient, and they don't take the next step to find out, well, what's causing the fibromyalgia? Why do you have irritable bowel syndrome? What kinds of stresses have you been through in your life? That's the next step that we want to be taken.
What do you suggest someone do when they think that maybe this is what they have?
You know, we've got a wonderful 3-minute self-assessment quiz on endchronicpain.org. And when people can go through that, it's got educational information in it that will show you if any of this applies to you.
If you can figure out, like you were mentioning about the one patient that realized when he was driving to work that that's when the symptoms hit, just knowing that, does that make things better?
In his case, it absolutely did. He suddenly saw the connection. He went back to his supervisor and had a conversation about lowering the stress level in his workplace. And this idea that it was connected to his physical health gave him the motivation to make those changes.
This is fascinating. My goodness, this is fascinating. So we want to tell everyone we'll put more information on our website at katu.com. Doctor, thank you so much. And thank you for the work you do.
Thank you very much for having me.
You bet. All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.